everyone. Welcome to the Atheist Viewpoint. My name is Ellen Johnson. I'm the president of American Atheists, and with us today is David Silverman, American Atheists National Communication Director.
Nice to be here.
Welcome, David. We're so happy to have you here. David has some family members. Hi, everybody, here in the room with us. Joining Tim behind the camera, Dave's mom and your niece and nephew.
Yeah.
And welcome, everybody. We're so happy that they're here. They're not on camera, but they are here. So you were doing something with Halloween? What?
Yeah. Well, we just came back from doing Rocky Horror. My wife and I do Rocky Horror every Halloween, and you know, there's a place in New Hope called the New Hope,
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, New Hope, Pennsylvania. There's a New Hope Arts. You know, I'm forgetting the word. A playhouse, and they do Rocky Horror live on stage every year, and it's so much fun. It's much more interactive than the movie because you can actually make the actors screw up. You know, you can actually hit the actors with the toast, and it's just so much fun. Everybody dresses up. It's a grand old time. We do it every year, and this year my niece and nephew lost their virginity, for lack of a better word, and came along with us, and they seem to have a good time. They're old enough now.
I haven't seen Rocky Horror. I want to see Rocky Horror.
It's fun. You know, it's all based out of a really bad movie that is so bad that people started to throw things at the screen and shout things at the screen, and that's why people keep going.
It's now a cult film,
yeah.
Classic, and yeah.
It's so much fun. You know, there have been some others that have tried to replace it, but it just doesn't come close. Rocky Horror is the king.
Yeah, and that you bring the rice and you bring the
rice, you bring the toast, you bring the newspapers, you bring the flashlights, you bring the squirt guns, and the toilet paper.
Audience, you know, uses this stuff usually
during
in the theater.
The
They would do this at the movie theaters.
Right.
The audience members started bringing these props, which are part of the movie,
right,
and then just utilizing them at the right times during the movie.
Right. Well, there's one sense in the movie. There's one point in the movie where they raise their glasses and they say, "I would like to propose a toast," and everybody takes out their toast and throws the toast at the stage. And if there's actors on the stage, you can hit the actors with the toast, and then the actors will stop their lines and pick up the toast and throw it back at you. And they, you know, it's so much fun. It takes about 2 hours. And
How was
it? Great time.
It was wonderful. You recommended 2 thumbs up, 3 thumbs up.
4 thumbs up.
4 thumbs up for the Rocky Horror Picture
We had a great
Show.
time, and we're going to do it again next year, and it'll be fun. You can come next year.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Well, we should dress up next year.
Oh,
We'll do a Halloween show.
Yeah, we'll do a Halloween show
we'll dress
next year.
up.
But I'm not going to come as Frankenfurter. You don't want that. All right, what are we talking about today?
You're going to do a joke for us.
I'm going to do a joke.
joke.
I'm going to do a joke. This joke was sent to us by Norwich Atheists. I'm not going to get the full address, but Norwich Atheists knows who he is. An atheist sees a child out in front of a neighborhood house with a sign that says, "Adorable kittens free." The next day, the atheist notices the child in front of the neighborhood church with a sign saying, "Adorable Methodist kittens free." A couple days later, the kid is posted in front of a synagogue with the sign, "Adorable Jewish kittens free." So the atheist isn't surprised when, the next day, the child is in front of his house with a sign promising "Adorable atheist kittens free." Now really, she tells the child, "These are adorable kittens, but I have a problem with your advertising. I've never seen your kittens change their religion. I've seen your kittens change their religion every day for a week. Why do you think I'll believe that these are atheist kittens now, all of a sudden?" "Well," said the child, "they have their eyes open." Ha 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 ha.
Very insightful.
Yeah,
Very
I like
good.
that.
We
That's
like
good.
that one. Thank you, Dave. Let's read some mail for you.
Right.
I'll start with the first one. On a recent Atheist Viewpoint, you read a letter that mentioned the war on Easter. And based on your response, I don't think you were aware of what the writer was talking about. There is a website, www.waroneaster.org, created by the producer of the movie The God Who Wasn't There, in which he encouraged people to surreptitiously place copies of the DVD and flyers in churches last Easter. It was sort of a publicity stunt, and they are probably planning to do something this Christmas. I believe it is this site and these activities that the writer was referring to, and he was wondering whether or not American Atheist supports or opposes these activities. Ah, okay, got it. Thank you. I didn't know that. So we were at a letter where somebody wrote in and said, "What do you think about this war on Easter?" Well, we know that especially on the Fox network, they constantly talk about the war on Christmas and the war on Easter. During those 2 times of the year, they parade the atheists out and make it look like that's all we're concerned about is somebody calling the Easter bunny the garden bunny,
yes.
right, and things like that. So that's what I thought was going on.
Well,
so thank you
at
for the
least,
explanation.
That's at least partially true, though. I did a Hannity and Combs. I was that person. I did Hannity and Combs about a year ago on Easter when one of the malls in Florida had decided to change their Easter bunny name to the Garden Bunny. It was our Palm Springs Mall, where they have a lot of Jews, and they had used their freedom of choice to name their bunny a Garden Bunny instead of an Easter bunny, and they brought me on Hannity and Combs to combat that, to say that, to kind of blame us for the whole thing. And when it comes right down to it, they told me that we were intolerant of people calling it the Easter Bunny. But in reality, we hadn't done anything to start them from changing the names. They were actually being intolerant of private enterprises calling their bunny something non-Christian. And I really hope I exposed that for them. But you know, that's what they do. They make it into a war when it's actually just private enterprises making their private choice.
Well, that wasn't even our issue.
No, it's not.
We didn't. No one brought a lawsuit. No one got involved.
No one even wrote a letter, as far as I know.
Right. But they find this little obscure, ridiculous story. They bring us on, and it makes it look like American Atheists is just a petty organization and getting involved in these petty issues. And I probably backed out of that one for that reason.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating because they're trying to make us out to be the bad guys any way they can, even if we didn't really do anything. Right. And even if somebody didn't do anything wrong, they just made a choice for their own private enterprise, their own private organization. So it's kind of a shame that they do that. I really ripped into Hannity and Combs, and I hope that came through. But that's what I think.
Well, we haven't been on in a long time, so maybe you did a good job. Okay, I have a question. I am an atheist. I have been since age 17. Over the years, I've noticed that the church condemns a lot of human behavior that deals with stealing, church attendance, murder, and sex. Stealing and church attendance are usually good topics for a Sunday sermon, scolding. Murder is more serious, but the church does not seem to be particularly in awe of it. The really big bugaboo is sex. Sex really bothers these birds. Sex really seems to be the one thing they cannot tolerate, the one thing they obsess over. My question is, why is a church so obsessed with human sexual behavior? Does it view sex as a competition? Do they fear they will be out of business if people enjoy sex too much? Does anyone there have any thoughts about this? What do you think?
Sex is something that is regulatable by the church's eyes. If somebody is going to murder, then seeing "thou shalt not murder" on the wall isn't going to stop them, and they know it. If somebody's going to steal, then seeing "thou shalt not steal" on the wall isn't going to stop them.
Do you think it's the same thing with sex? That's
no.
going to stop?
No, but that's their intent. They think so. Do I think so? No, but they think so. And the reason is that the more you sacrifice, the more enthralled you are, the more tied to the church that's stopping you from doing it.
If they can control your sexuality, they can control everything else about you.
Exactly. I mean, think about it this way. Very, very few people, when it comes right down to it, are thieves, okay? Very, very few people, when it comes right down to it, are murderers. But everybody has sex, okay? And if the church can actually attack the sex and actually control all those people from doing it, the next step is very, very easy. They can control your money, they can control your behavior, they can control your vote.
Well,
and that's where it all comes down to. It's all about being, having a very wide audience and having a subject that is regulatable, according to the church, that the people will actually allow you to regulate. No, I won't have sex because the church tells me to. Well, what else will you do because the church tells you to do it? That's why they attack sex so much.
And the thing about the sexual act is that it's very basic. It's a very, it doesn't, I mean, it's what, how do I
normal.
say this? Yes, but it's what makes us very much an animal. Mm-hmm. The sexual activity is the activity that shows quite clearly that we are not special creations. We're just like every other animal in procreation, mm-hmm. Okay? It's an animal act, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Okay, not in a derogatory term, an animal act, but it is, you know, the human animal